Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Jordan with PictureMonk.com, and welcome to episode 14 of the PictureMonk podcast. This is actually episode 14, and I'm recording it on the 14th, which is Saturday nights. And as you probably know, I usually do that on Saturday nights to get them all edited and uploaded and everything. So it's kind of cool to record episode 14 on the 14th. To quote one of my favorite shows, The Office, it's like, this only happens once every billion years, and he was stupid. It's talking about the 05 party. Weird reference. I don't know why that came across. But anyway, so before I get into today's topic, I kind of wanted to just glance over a couple news articles that were happening today. And I'm not going to go into any sort of depth with these because I feel like they've been covered a lot on a lot of other photography podcasts. And that is Canon has just released a bunch of new cameras. I haven't really dug too deep into it because I mainly looked at the price before looking at any of the specs. And the prices are, you know, for like the full frame stuff, they're up in the $34, $43, something like that, $100 range. So that's a no-go for me. But the stats look really cool. I mean, if I ever had a chance to review them or test them out and play with them for a while, I think it would be kind of cool to look at, because they're 50 megapixel cameras, which is crazy, and they got a bunch of other neat features on there. But I'm probably not even going to worry about those. I'm probably going to stick to my Canon 6D and just hammer home on that one. But that was a cool little news article that I was looking at. If you want to read about that, just Google Canon new cameras, because it's going to be out there. Another one is Apple basically gave a preview of their new Photos app that's going to be released, and I believe it's for the Macs. It's not technically for the iPhones. It could be, I don't know. But it's kind of going to replace the iPhoto suite. That's what it looks like. Just like a more organizational type of software, and it develops. It's got the develop presets in there, the develop adjustments and stuff like that. It just looks like they just revamped it, and from what I did see, it looks pretty cool. Hopefully, it's going to be a free app or free release. So if you have a Mac out there, you can probably just. I think I just Googled Apple Photos app or something like that, and it was the first one on there that kind of gave a preview of what's to come. So if you want to check that out, go ahead and do that. But that's the only thing that really interested me, really. I mean, there was kind of a slow thing, and I haven't really been going over any news articles lately, so I'm just kind of getting away from some of the gadgets that are coming out and all that stuff, just because it really doesn't matter that much. I mean, their gadgets are cool to play with and read reviews on and watch unboxings and stuff. But other than that, it's kind of, it's kind of out there for everybody to look at, and I'm just not really too interested in it. So, for today's topic, I basically wanted to talk about 10 different unique tips to use for your iPhone photography, which is commonly called iPhoneography, and I just think that's kind of a cool little name. But I'm going to run through 10 little tips, and a few of them, you probably have heard before, but it's not, it's kind of cool to hear them again and get a refresher and to know that they're there. So that's kind of a good thing to do. But some of them are just kind of off the wall things that I kind of came across and I wanted to try. Some of them I have tried, some of them I haven't. So let's go ahead and get into the first one. The first one is basically to, if you ever notice that the focal distance or the focal width of the camera that's attached to the iPhone is not very wide. You might see you say it's fairly wide. I mean, you can get a pretty good field of view, but if you ever want to get like a really wide view, unless you buy like a accessory lens, which I don't recommend those, because I have actually. I played with one. I haven't owned it, but I played with one that someone else used, and I just could not get that thing to mount on there correctly, and it kind of gave like a vignetting effect because the lens wasn't fully lining up and it wasn't clear and stuff like that. So unless they've improved them, I wouldn't recommend that. But if you want to get a really, really wide angle of view, use the panorama feature, and that's You're like, okay, well, I'll just use panorama. But what you really do is you take the panorama, and if you want, like if you're taking a photo of a room, and you want to get, a certain area of the room, take the panorama, and you're gonna get a 180 panorama no matter what you do. But you really don't have to care at all about the far edge, the far left edge, the far right edge. You don't really need to care about that. Just just slowly pan to the section you want, and then later you can just crop out the edges because you probably won't even need those. I've done this on a couple things where I'll pan a room, and then I'll slow down and make sure I get a really good slow pan on the subject that I want to take, and then at the very end where where it's like match the arrow up with the line and stuff like that. I won't even care about that. I'll just whip it around real quick and get the picture done with, and then I'll go in the phone and just crop out the excess part that I don't need. So if you ever want to get a really wide angle view, that's a good way to do it, and it does work. It does work really well, and you can also do tricks with the panorama feature of getting the same person in the same in one photo at one time, and that's just basically just like panning. Like let's say you have a guy standing on the left, you pan to him, and then he runs out of the frame, and then runs around you and gets into another spot, and then you pan again, and you just keep panning, and then you'll eventually get 3 or 4 different subjects in one photo. So that's some tricks that you can use with the panorama feature, and I really recommend it because I do use that a lot if I ever want to get a wide angle of view. All right, the next little tip that I would use, and I definitely use this one a lot, is let's say you're going to share your photos on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, stuff like that. A lot of people open up the actual app to take the photo. So if you're going to share it on Instagram, you'll open up Instagram, take the photo, maybe apply the filters that you want to apply, and then share it. But what you could be doing to save time is, and keep the creative juices flowing, that kind of thing, is just basically opening up the native camera app on the phone. And so this is kind of what I do is I'll open up the camera app on the phone. If I want to Instagram stuff later or now or whatever, I'll just walk around and take the pictures that I want and make sure they're on my phone. I'm not going to open up the Instagram app and tap and then apply the filter and then do all that stuff. So I basically just take the app out, the native app, and just take all the pictures I need and the ones I want to share, and then I'll go upload them into Instagram. So it's kind of like a workflow tip in a way. So it basically just saves time, and you don't have to take one photo and keep applying filters and stuff like that. So it's just a little workflow thing that I do, and what it allows you to do is you don't have to do the photos right then. You can wait till later on in the day. Sometimes I upload photos that were taken like a week ago that I haven't even touched, but I know that they're on my camera and they're safe. The only thing that you might have to fiddle with is if you're going to upload it to Instagram, for instance, you have that square crop. So you got to keep that in mind when you're taking the photo. Either that, or you can switch to the square feature on the iPhone. And I know I'm talking about iPhones here, but some of these tips can really be applied to any smartphone camera. So, but I have an iPhone. I've always had an iPhone since since the first one came out. So I'm more used to that term. But so that's a good little organizational tip and a good time-saving tip that you could use for your next little Instagram, adventure that you want to take. All right, the next tip is to definitely use editing software on your phone. You could use the built-in editing software that comes with the phones. So it comes with the the basic highlights, editing, shadows, exposures, that kind of thing. But there's tons of iPhone editing apps out there that you could use, and so the ones that I really like to use are Snapseed. That's a one that's been around for a very long time. Google owns that one. Avery, and I've actually done a video on Avery. So if you want to check that out, you can go to PictureMonk.com/Avery, and it'll take you to the video I did, kind of like a little mini review of it. And then I definitely use Instagram. I really like the editing features that they have, and it seems like comparing these, if you wanted a more powerful one, I would definitely go for something like a Snapseed. If you want something to that's kind of fun to play around with, that kind of thing, I'd definitely go the Avery route, something that has a whole lot of features just crammed into there. That Avery app is definitely filter heavy, so you have a whole lot of filters in there that you could play around with. But Instagram is kind of like the one that I use the most, just because I share most of my stuff on Instagram. So they have the editing part of it really works. Especially I've noticed, because if you've heard my other podcasts and seen my videos, I'm a real big fan of the shadow slider, and I noticed that if I'm on Avery, if I'm using the Avery app and I mess with the shadow slider, it sort of starts to get really faded. But if I do the same thing with the Instagram app, it comes out way more clear than it would in the Avery app, and it is more true to what I would see on like Lightroom or Photoshop. So that's one way to do it. And I really like those editing apps. I rarely ever post a photo that hasn't been edited in some form or fashion. So definitely use your editing apps. That's kind of just a generic tip, but you want to make sure that you're putting out the best photos possible. If you're really serious about them. If it's family photos, then really not a big deal. But if you want to put like really cool Instagram photos out there, make sure you edit them really good. All right, the next little feature is kind of, it's not really geared towards the phone per se, but it's geared towards the accessory route, and that is using the iPhone headphones, the ones that come with the iPhone, as a shutter release. This is, I think this was a talking point, how many iPhones ago, 2 or 3 iPhones ago, where they enabled that feature to allow you to use your shutter release, use your headphones as a shutter release. And the way you do that is basically just plug it into the headphone port, and the plus button on your headphones, it's got that little dongle in the middle of the headphones has the mic and the up and down volume button. The plus button actually activates the shutter, so you can use that as a shutter release, and that's what a lot of people use for selfies, like if they prop their phone up on a up against the wall or something, and they take a selfie with it. That's one way to do it. The iPhone also comes with a timer on it, so you can use it that way. But if you want to use the shutter release, that's a good way to do it too. So make sure you always have some headphones with you, and if you do, then you can just pop them in there. Boom, you got a shutter release. So that definitely helps out. All right, now we're starting to get into the kind of tricky little edits that you can do to your photos here. The first one I kind of want to go through that's kind of weird is if you're really into black and white photos and you just want to make sure that you're composing your photos right for black and white photos, you can actually change your iPhone screen to be just grayscale. So your whole screen, everything, will have no color in it. And this is actually an accessibility feature that you can use on your iPhone. So I'm actually going to turn it up on mine. I'm let me get my phone out here so I can give you the exact way to do this. So what you'll do is you'll just go in the settings on your iPhone and go to General, and then you'll see the accessibility option. And in that accessibility option, I believe if you update it to the most recent one, you're going to see a grayscale feature. And when you click grayscale, you're going to just click it on to where it's off. Your whole phone is going to be completely grayscale. So now when you open up the camera app, which I'm doing all this as I'm talking about it, when you open up the camera app, it's going to be in black and white. So that way you can it's still going to take the photo in color. But you're just looking at the photo in black and white, so that way you can kind of compose it right and kind of get the feel for how you might want to edit it, that kind of thing. So I just thought that was a really cool tip to help you out in kind of conceptualizing the photo before you even take it. So I thought that was really cool. All right, the next one is kind of about flash on the phone. I do not use flash on the phone if I can get away with it. Even then they have that True Tone, I think that's what it's called, True Tone Flash. I rarely ever use the flash, so I just keep that off. But if I am going to use it, one way you can actually direct the way the flash will go is to basically just cup your hand over the top of the phone. So what this will do is when you take the picture, you got to make sure your hand's not in the photo, obviously, but you just take your hand and kind of cup it. That way, when the flash goes off, it will, it'll kind of bounce off your hand and kind of curve with your hand, and then hit the subject of whatever you want it to be. You can do the same thing with like a piece of white paper or something like that, but you got your hands with you all the time, so it makes more sense to do it that way. But yeah, it basically, you just take your hand, curve it over the top of the phone to where it's kind of mainly over the flash, and that'll prevent any light from spilling upward. So it's all going out front and then down. So that's a good way to keep the light directed in the way you want it to. This really helps when taking night photos, or photos in a dark area, a dark room or something. It really helps to keep the light in your subject. So try that next time if you're taking like indoor photos in like a darker area, and you can definitely see the difference. All right, this next one is, let's say you're out with you got your photo group together of all your friends and stuff, and you kind of want to document this whole little thing. And this is kind of what me and my dad do, because we go out and take photos all the time. We always forget to Instagram our photos. We're busy taking photos with our main cameras, but we want to kind of document the trip, and so what we do is you kind of want to make sure that you're not losing any of the detail, especially on a bright and sunny day when you're this definitely helps out with people with glare on their face. What you do is you basically take a pair of polarizing sunglasses, and I believe mine are polarizing sunglasses. I can't remember. Most of them are. And what you do is just kind of hold that polarizing lens of the sunglasses over the lens of your camera, and that'll kind of mimic a polarizing filter that you would actually screw on the front of like a regular DSLR. And what this does, in kind of relation to taking photos of people, if it's a really, really bright and sunny day, you're going to have those really, really hot spots, really bad hot spots in somebody's face. So putting that polarizing filter on there, or the polarizing lens, will cut down on that glare and kind of even it out a little bit. It's the same exact thing that you would do with a regular polarizing filter that you would screw on or place in front of the lens. It's the same thing. You might just have to tilt it a little bit, to kind of get that effect going. But it's definitely helpful. I just was actually playing with it earlier today, and it worked out pretty good. But make sure your sunglasses are polarized, have polarized lenses in them, and you can definitely tell the difference. All right, this one was just really, really weird, and it took me a while to get it to work. So if you can get it to work, kudos to you. But it's basically kind of mimicking a macro filter or a macro lens on your camera. What you do is you get a drop of water. This sounds so stupid. I was thinking about it earlier, how I was going to phrase it to where it wasn't going to sound so stupid. You take a drop of water and you place it on your lens to where you have this, that nice little drop of water bubble on your lens. And what it does is it mimics a macro filter or a macro lens, so you can get really close to your subject. The hardest part is getting that damn bubble to stay on there. That's the hardest part of all. What it does is, have you ever seen, like the weird distortion effect a glass of water has? It's the same kind of thing. So if you can get the little drop of water to stay in your lens as you're tilting the phone to take a picture of something, it actually worked really, really well. But it's really just difficult to do. I don't know why you would do that all the time. I mean, if somebody says, "Hey, go take a macro photo," okay, let me go get a drop of water. It just sounds so stupid. But it definitely does work. I actually saw someone, I believe it was on Pinterest or something. If you ever seen those laser pointers that used to be outlawed or illegal or something like that, someone actually just took out the lens in the laser pointer and put it on front of the lens of an iPhone, and it made it macro. So that's another way to do it, and that's probably more. It's more expensive than a free drop of water, but it's it's more practical. It'll actually work more often than not. So check that out if you want to try it. Just go to the sink, blop a little drop of water on there, see if you can get it to work. It does work. It just takes a lot of effort. All right, this next tip is kind of goes along with the macro thing, just on the other end. It's basically taking a pair of binoculars and holding it up to the front of your lens, and you kind of get that telephoto look. I don't have a pair of binoculars, so I have not tried this, but from the stuff that I have found and just common sense, you're probably going to have to crop in a lot, because you're going to get that heavy vignette effect, because you're basically just taking a picture of the inside of that eye hole in a pair of binoculars. So, you can actually just pop it on there and zoom in really, as far as the binoculars can, and it'll kind of look cool. I don't know why you would want to do this, but I just thought I would throw it in there. The only way I can see using this and it actually be practical and actually turn out the way you might want it is like if you were going to a concert or some sort of event where you're in the stands and you actually have a pair of binoculars with you. You could do that and try to capture the event that you're looking at. That's the only way I could see this actually being useful, but it actually is a trick. So thought I would throw that in there, and you guys can try that next time you whip out your binoculars to see something, and you can try that and see how it works for you. All right, and the very last tip is has to do with underwater photography with your phone. I would have used this a while back, but now I have a GoPro that I actually have a housing on, so it doesn't really apply to me. But it's basically taking a cup or a glass of some sort and turning your phone upside down and setting it in the water to take underwater photos. It really works well because it'll do the if you've ever seen those ones where trying to think of a good example where they take pictures of like a mountain range in the distance, but then they have the water level, and they can see underneath the water, and you can see like the rocks and the stuff like that. I'm not saying you're going to get that great of a photo with your iPhone, but it's the same kind of concept. It's you're getting the half-tone effect where you can see underwater and you can see what's on top of the water. It's really great for that. So that's kind of a neat little thing. You can use a glass, a clear glass. You could use even a plastic bag if you wanted to. A plastic bag's probably not going to work that great. And even if you go on to Amazon, they have underwater bags for your DSLRs mainly, but they also have small, cheaper bags that you can place, sensitive stuff that can get damaged in water. That's mainly what it's used for, is to keep your stuff dry. But a lot of people actually use them to take underwater stuff with their phones. And how they kind of reinforce that is the material is really, it's really durable, so it's most likely it won't get wet, but it still it kind of ziplocks like a regular Ziploc bag would. A lot of people will still Ziploc it, but then like take some duct tape or some really heavy tape and place it over that zip part to secure it and make sure it's not going to get any water in it. So you can go either route, but it's a quick and easy thing to just take a glass and set it in the water. So I actually tried this just to see if it'll work and how well it would work, and I actually just filled my sink up with water and put my iPhone in there in a clear glass, and it worked really well. It came out really, really nice. So next time I'm drinking near a lake or something, maybe I'll pop my phone in a glass and try to get some photos like that. But that's it, guys. That's the 10 quick little fun tips for your iPhone photography. Not saying you're going to get killer photos with your iPhone, but it might be fine. It might be just fun to play around with. And that old saying where the best camera you have is the one with you, that kind of thing. You're going to have your phone with you all the time. So I'm not knocking on phones for taking photos, but just make sure you have the right tools, the basics to get good photos, and that's the main thing. But I hope you guys enjoyed those tips, and please remember to rate the podcast. Head on over to PictureMonk.com/podcast, and that'll take you to the iTunes page, and you can rate it there. Don't forget that the last day to order the PictureMonk Presets Volume 1 is today, and this will be released on Tuesday. So by midnight on Tuesday, Eastern Standard Time, I'll have to take the discount code off. So if you do want to pick those up, go to PictureMonk.com/shop, and then when you're checking out, use the discount code LR Preset 50. And that'll take 50% off of the PictureMonk presets. So I appreciate you guys checking that out. Appreciate you guys rating the podcast. And I'm really enjoying this. I'm really enjoying being able to provide cool little fun tips for you guys. And that's about it. So I will see you guys later, and check you guys out on PictureMonk.com.